Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're first time here. In today's video I'm going to be sharing my I'm basically beyond 20 weeks. I'm now on 21 and a half weeks, and I wanted to tell you about reaching the halfway point of this very first pregnancy. I'm going to update you on some physical changes and also just random stuff. This will be a slightly TMI video, so if you don't want to know about weird things happening to your body, perhaps this is not the video for you. But yeah, I just want to be really honest about my feelings, my body, and other various changes that come around during pregnancy that perhaps people don't really talk about so openly. So first things first, so I'm 21 weeks and oh my God. Okay, I have massive baby brain. That's one thing. I kind of forget what story I'm telling in the middle of telling it, that kind of thing. But yeah, basically I'm about 21 and a half weeks pregnant, and things are going well in terms of the pregnancy. There are no complications. There's no concerns particularly for me. I've said in my previous videos, whilst in the early stages, I was so anxiety ridden. I had so much fear and so many questions about my future and my competence as a mother. But now I just feel this overwhelming trust and faith in my body. Maybe I'm being completely naive, and when Labor Day comes, I'm going to be screaming. But I just feel I can do this. And there isn't really a doubt in my mind that this baby's going to be okay, that I'm going to be okay. Touch wood, that these things are true. But I just want to start this video with a really positive attitude and, share that positivity with anyone watching this video. If you are going through pregnancy yourself, we can do this. Our bodies are designed for this. And if you think about it, the amazing thing for me, if I start to feel anxious or doubt myself, I just remind myself, all of these things that are happening to the baby, all of these organs that are growing, and the lanugo and the coating on the baby that is going to protect it from scratching itself, and all this stuff, your body is making that happen without your instruction and without your control. I think once I realized how capable the body is without you having to get involved or you having to take over control, as soon as I realized that, I was okay, I can take a back seat here. I don't have to plan everything really vigorously. I can just flow with it. And the best thing that I can possibly do right now is just stay healthy, stay calm, and have my daily dose of just peace. I'm quite an anxious person naturally. If there's a loud noise, I will jump, and I will often fear the worst if there's a change of plan or something. So what I'm really consciously trying to do is just feed myself with positivity, with relaxation. This could be going for a massage, a pregnancy safe one, I will say. This could be getting my hair done. This could literally just be lying on the sofa, listening to a hypnobirthing affirmations YouTube video, which I will link in the description box, because if anybody is pregnant and a little bit wobbly or a little bit nervous and just needs a little bit of an upper, basically, this is such a lovely video and it's so relaxing to listen to as well. So I just do that for 10 minutes in the afternoon if I have time, or listen to something relaxing and just take joy in my rest time, basically. I'm also I need to turn the aircon on. I just need to. I'm sorry, it's 37 degrees today. That's another thing, actually. I am hot. In the early stages of my pregnancy, I was always cold, actually. I was surprised as well, because I heard that you were hot because of the pregnancy, but I was actually really cold for the first maybe 8 weeks. Whereas now I'm boiling hot, and usually my husband is more of a warm-blooded creature and I'm the one who's freezing cold. But recently, I've been sleeping with the aircon on all night, and to the point where he's actually cold and he has to come downstairs and sleep on the sofa, bless him, because I just need it. So I guess that's just the way it is right now. I am actually really grateful to be at this stage of pregnancy, to be kind of at my midway point around summertime, because as I said, usually I'm such a cold person. So I'm glad that like the baby can be warm, and this is my season right now. Like I love the summertime, and I love the warmth and everything. So I just feel really good and safe, like the baby's not getting cold or something. Also, so week 19 was the first small little movements, and I think week 20 is when I lay on the sofa. And it wasn't like, was that the baby? It's like ninja moves. It's really doing its little dance down there. And he's very reactive to sound. So I went to a performance the other day, and they had like some sort of like Japanese music. He was like dancing away in there. Or I went for a sound healing therapy with my like spiritual doctor. And he was like really responding to the sounds and stuff. So he's perhaps a future musician. But yeah, he is definitely moving, and I am so relieved to say that, because you get to kind of like week 17 and you're like, is everything okay? And of course you check online, and there's such a range that people start feeling, he's kicking right now, there's such a range of like time that people can start feeling the baby moving. But my doctor said to me that because I have an anterior placenta, which means the placenta's at the front, this is sort of like a buffer that stops me feeling the baby. So I was thinking, oh God, like maybe I'm not going to be able to feel him, and that was something that I really wanted for like mother-baby bonding whilst he's still in the womb. I really wanted to feel him there, and he is very much there. Like he does his little disco moves and it's lovely, and it just brings me so much joy. And another thing, that happened, I remember getting out of bed. It was like the day of week 20, and I got out of bed and I looked down at my stomach and I was like, okay, I am officially, definitely, 100% noticeably pregnant. I think before it was hideable with floaty clothes or loose t-shirts and stuff, but I think now it's gotten to a point where I just can't hide it anymore. And perhaps I'm a strange one. Like I know some women who just like go out there and tell everyone they're pregnant as soon as they get the pregnancy test. For me, I'm still keeping it really on the down low. Like I've told my family and like one or two close friends. Obviously my husband knows and his family knows. But in terms of just like telling the world, it's something I'm not really comfortable doing, which is weird because I am a YouTuber and I put so much information on the internet about myself and my life. But I think like, I don't know, for me, having a baby comes with so many, of course, joyful things and great life changes, but it does also come with a lot of, like your body changes, and that takes some getting used to. And, there's all these other things happening to your body, which like the general public don't really know about. And I did not know until it started happening to me. Like the amount of stuff I've Googled to say, is this normal? And yes, it is. You learn a lot about yourself when you're pregnant. Let's just say that. It's kind of like now my body is like giving away the secret. It's like my secret is like tattooed across my head, or rather just like growing in my belly. I don't think I've ever in my life appreciated someone saying, wow, your belly's big. So I do sometimes find a little bit, my initial reaction is like, excuse me. But no, I realize, it's a beautiful thing. And I think I bought some dresses the other day, some of which were more floaty, but all of them were kind of accommodating for my growing bump. And I bought one which is not tight, but you can see the figure. So this is like my bump dress. I call it my bump dress because it's just like, it's there. This is just my personal take, but like other than my boobs being like 400 times bigger than normal, I don't really look pregnant. Like I haven't gained weight anywhere else on my body. But then like my bump is kind of getting quite big. So it's like I'm a relatively slim woman. And then when you kind of get close, or you see, if I kind of get to the side, you just see this humongous bump, and it's like, oh, okay, she's definitely pregnant. I think like every woman who's pregnant can probably attest to this, but there's a point where you're like, you just look like you've had a really big lunch. And then there gets to a day where you're like, definitely I've gone over the big lunch thing. No, this is no big lunch situation. This is for sure a baby. Talking of the growth, I've gained, I think, about 3 kilos, which isn't as much as I thought I would. And I will be talking to my healthcare professional about it, just to check that everything's okay. You know, I know that there are recommendations of like how much to gain and what's too little and what's too much. So I am going to leave that to the professionals and of course go with it. You know, I am a little bit nervous about weight gain around this pregnancy, but I also would be more nervous to know if I don't gain enough weight, there's going to be some trouble with my future child. So, well, my current child, my child. So yeah, I'm going to check when I go this Saturday. And for the time being, since about week 19, I started to notice a pain kind of like, I guess you could say it's in my groin or like in the very lower section of my belly. It's not like excruciatingly painful, but it's more of a shock. It's always on my right side for some reason. So I don't know whether that's round ligament pain or just like stretching, or if it's just the baby has a preference to be on that side. I really don't know. Again, something maybe doctors know more about. And I actually have it right here, but I'm applying this tummy butter, which is by Palmer's. I just saw it online and thought it kind of fit the bill, and this is what I'm using on my belly to avoid any stretch marks. I'm also not hugely fussed about stretch marks. I feel like they're kind of like your stamp of power, of strength, of how you've like compromised your body for this future creature. So I don't really have any huge qualms about getting stretch marks, to be honest, but I'm using that cream just in case. Okay, the next thing is gross. So as I've told you, there are these lying on the sofa sessions where I'm listening to my hypnobirthing affirmations and touching my belly and relaxing to the calming sounds of my YouTube videos. And as I lie there, I put my hand on my stomach and I can feel him just moving around, and to the point where I was like, I'm going to film this. Like, when you're pregnant, you don't really need a TV because you're so entertained by the movements of your stomach, especially around this stage where it goes from like not even seeing that you're pregnant to like actually seeing and feeling this creature, this little tiny baby moving around inside, which just makes me so happy every time. I love the fact that he's growing. I actually love my pregnant body. I love my belly, but I do struggle with comments sometimes, like when, other than pregnancy, is it okay to tell someone that their belly's looking big? It's just, anyway, I have to mindset change that thing, but yeah, that's a bit of a difficult one for me because I've never appreciated being called fat. Oh yeah, my gross thing, yeah. So I'm lying on the sofa taking these videos and I can see some movement. I get really excited. I send it to my mum. She gets really excited. And I kind of continue doing this. And then I get to a point where I'm like filming my own belly and I have to zoom in and I'm like, is my belly hairy? Like, gross. I mean, yes, actually, it was hairy. My belly became hairy. Like, what the hell? So obviously I have like epilated that away. No hairy belly for me and no hairy belly pictures from me to my family. Yuck. But apparently this is a thing because, once again, the beloved hormones of pregnancy make your belly hairy. Like, who knew? And weirdly, like when it comes to other body hair areas, I don't feel an excess. I am actually surprised, like there's not much growth on my legs or my armpits and so on. So I was really surprised to see my hairy belly. I'm sorry if that's too much information or a bit gross, but it's the truth, and you know, that's why you're here. Next up, yeah, so I think in this stage of like week 19, week 20, week 21, I do feel a lot more beach whaley, I call it, in the sense that like when I get out of bed, it's not just like a kind of getting out of bed, it's more of a kind of like oof, oof, and like I have to kind of like struggle and like maneuver myself. Perhaps I'm just being overly cautious about the bump, but I don't feel like I can use my abs in the same way that I used to. And you know, I'm giving myself a big pat on the back here, but you know, I had pretty strong abs before. You know, I kept myself in good shape. So it is a bit strange the way that like now when I try and sit up, I've got like my hands and legs like waving around to try and like balance me. of balance as well. That's another thing. I brought a tray of like dessert upstairs. It was like peaches with some honey and some cream, and I decorated it nicely. And I came into the room, and for some way, I don't know how I managed it, but I just completely lost my sense of gravity, and I fell over and I dropped my wonderful dessert all over the floor, which the rabbit was happily, jumping around eating like the honey that spilled everywhere. But yeah, anyway, sense of balance, not my forte right now. However, I am still running. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is like a pretty big point. When you are pregnant, you Google everything, you worry about everything. Is it okay to eat this? Is it okay to do that? There's so much worry and anxiety, especially for like first-time mums. And I've definitely, delved into the world of anxiety. My fair share of nerves has occurred. But as I said, I am feeling a lot more confident in my own skin. And one of the most important things for me, which was revelatory, was just deciding to trust my body and listening to it. Like, do I want to eat eggs? Do I want to eat sushi? Do I want a cup of coffee? Like, I just go by my feeling, because I think now we have so much information, so many warnings, and so much advice. But back in the day, women weren't getting any advice. And look at all these babies that happened. So I think the most important thing is to be calm and to be confident and to trust yourself. Yes, of course, there are certain like big no-nos and certain things which are really, really going to help you with your pregnancy. But I think don't worry so much. Just be you and enjoy your life and enjoy this stage called pregnancy, which is not going to last forever, although sometimes it does feel like it's never going to end. Back to my running story. I am still running, probably about 3 times a week. And this is because I just have more time. My life is a lot more calm. I'm not like going out there and doing loads of like things. I'm really appreciating the chance just to be calm and not complicate my schedule. And as such, I do have more time, especially in the mornings, when it's beautifully sunny. I will go off for a run. And I'll run around outside, I'll enjoy the nature and the heat of the sun. I'm not running as long as I was before I was pregnant, but I am definitely, I'm getting my heart rate up and I'm feeling the sweat. And for me, I think that is really, really good. I always ran before, I ran marathons before, so it's not like I'm just starting to run whilst pregnant, not at all. And similarly, the other day I woke up on a usual run day and I thought, I don't want to go running. So I didn't. And I think that is the key, like being able to listen to your body, not pushing yourself or not doing stuff just because you've put it in the schedule or because like you usually do it. Like, it's really important now of all times to listen to your body, to your rhythm, to your moods, to a certain extent anyway, because they are pretty up and down. But yeah, just like kind of go with the flow. Just connecting to listening to yourself. There's like weird stuff going on in terms of intuition. Like, I feel my intuition is crazy strong right now. Just last night, like a small example, but like I said to my husband, oh, your uncle's gonna call today. And he was like, oh, okay. And then he stayed up doing whatever husbands do, and I went to bed, and in the morning he was like, yeah, my uncle called yesterday. And I was like, there you go. And I keep getting repeats of stuff, and I keep like, it's very weird. It's just very bizarre, but like maybe that's just the power of Mother Nature within me. I'm not sure, but something to mention. Now, this video is really long again, but I do have one last point, and this is actually quite a sad point. This is about clinics. Now, in Japan, you get so many checks. I think I've had about 7 checks in the clinic. Most of them have ultrasound. Well, no, all of them have ultrasounds. Some of them have blood tests. They're all just like check-ins for different things, basically just to check that your baby is growing at the rate that is expected and there aren't any issues. So I really appreciate that about the Japanese healthcare when it comes to pregnancy. So when I first found out I was pregnant, I found a clinic that was really, really near my house, and I would like literally just pop over there, get my check and go. But the thing is, they didn't accommodate for women once the baby was coming. And my husband was like, that doesn't really make any sense, because you want this time to develop a relationship with these healthcare professionals. And so what's the point of going somewhere And then like on the crucial moment, they kind of just throw you out and say, well, we can't help you. So I was like, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. So we both, looked into some alternatives, and he found a clinic that was not so close, but not so far either. And they would be there throughout the whole pregnancy. And they also had a kind of like hospital where you could actually give birth. So it seemed like they had the whole package. It seemed like the perfect place for us. And we went there, we checked it out, and we liked it. So we continued having our checkups there. 3 weeks ago, I had a check. And when I was there, I asked for a doula. Now, I wanted a doula, not that I knew what a doula was before I even got pregnant, but I wanted a doula who was going to be there for me through the emotional stuff. I didn't realize that pregnancy was so about mental and emotional stuff. I thought it was kind of just like you literally grow the baby and then it pops out. So I decided that I did want someone who was going to understand me. And I don't mean this in a racist way at all, but the Japanese approach is quite different. And I feel like the Western approach is a little bit more like the woman asks questions, or the woman sort of like, I want a home birth, or I want a water birth. Like there's a lot more options, I feel. Whereas in Japan, it's more about like you give birth and that's that. And Japanese birth style has so many positive points. But for me, I just wanted someone who would be able to guide me when I did have these questions, or, if I wanted to lie on my side whilst in labor or something like that. Just like small stuff, but at a really intense time. And I mentioned it to the doctor. I didn't bring the doula. I didn't like demand that I have the doula. I literally just said to him, would it be okay? Like, is that an option at your clinic if I bring my doula? And he panicked. The midwives came scurrying out. Everyone was kind of like having this like hoo-ha going on there. And he said, no, it's not okay. And I said, fine, no problem whatsoever. Like, I just wanted to ask the question. So I left. I made my appointment for 3 weeks later. And last Saturday, a few days ago, my husband and I went and we had the checkup. Baby's looking great, growing nicely. And at the end of it, he said, yeah, we've had a meeting and it's been decided that we would like you to leave. Like, I am pregnant, halfway through my pregnancy for the first time, and my clinic, who I was relying on to support me through my birth and through my pregnancy, have decided that it's time for me to leave. Like, they said that it was because of communication issues. I have not had one communication issue with them whatsoever. Granted, my medical language in Japanese is not the strongest, but there's never been a confusion. Like, the only thing that I can possibly think of that they didn't like was the fact that I asked to bring a doula, and this isn't the standard protocol, and they just kind of freaked out because like the foreign girl is asking for something different. And I don't mean to sound racist or belittling, but like that's the only thing I can fathom as to why a professional clinic, which has dealt with so many women's births, has decided to chuck me out basically, or reject me. So we were both pretty stunned about that. And I felt like I was like a school kid again, like being kicked out of my circle of friends. It was such a rejection. And I was angry, I think, or disappointed that like someone that I had put so much trust in would kind of just reject me in that way at such a vulnerable time in my life. So I was really, excuse my French, I was really pissed about that, because I thought that's not professional. Thank God that I have like a supportive husband, and I'm pretty strong right now about, my pregnancy, because if that were to happen to some, foreign girl who lived in Japan, who was a single mom, who wasn't feeling strong, like that would really, really cause like a lot of emotional pain. So I've kind of moved on now. It was ups and downs. Like, I think both my husband and I were like absolutely shocked, just felt really let down. But I've spoken to my doula, and she's already great. I haven't even hired her yet, and she's just like, no problem. She recommended a great new place for me, and they seem a lot more foreigner friendly, like in the sense that They have a big water bath, so you can give birth in the water. They have a really minimal rate of cutting. So I think like in some clinics in Japan, they do have, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called, but basically they cut the vagina so that the baby can come out more easily. This can cause so many problems, so many infections, and it's just not necessary half the time. So I did not want that unless it's like really urgent. And this clinic had like a really low rate of that. They're very based on sort of like natural and supportive births. Sorry, that doorbell was ironically wine for my husband whilst I'm trying to film a video on pregnancy. So yeah, we were both like really let down by that, but we've moved on and I feel a lot more confident of this new one. Again, my maternal intuition is saying yes. And this place is not near my house at all. Like it's going to be 2 trains and, you know, it's just not going to be so easy to get to. But there are certain things that matter when it comes to finding your clinic. And I realized that travel time is not actually that important, because all you need really is someone that you can rely on and trust and who's going to listen to you rather than run away panicking. But yeah, that was a bit of a roller coaster, especially at this, 21 weeks. It's just crazy. So yeah, that's a shame. But onwards and upwards, and I believe in me. I am hugely grateful to have my husband, who's just been such a source of support. Even though neither of us really know what we're doing, we've relied on each other, and I'm so grateful for him. So I want to say thank you to everyone who is watching this, and if you are pregnant yourself, congratulations. Leave a comment, just chat to me, tell me your stories, tell me how you're doing, tell me if you had any weird belly hair stuff, or is it just me turning into a monkey. Yeah, tell me your stuff, because I think one of the greatest things about this pregnancy is kind of like understanding the importance of support and having like a team of people that you can share your everything with. For me, I find these videos really cathartic. I really enjoy sharing my little updates with you, and I hope you enjoy listening to them. Yeah, always, leave your comments. Feel free to send me a message if you like. And until next time, bye-bye from Bump and me.